I'm going to make a video on chainsaws. I own a timber farm. It's 210 acres. I don't do it as my primary income. I do it as a secondary income. I'm an electrician by trade, but I do have a sawmill. I do rough cut lumber. I do siding, and I do a lot of firewood. Anyway, there's a lot of beginners out there, and they might not know what saw to use for the particular job they need. So I have the whole assortment of chainsaws, from the biggest Husqvarna chainsaw they make to the smallest. I rarely use a small one. It's only for limbing. It's an old one that my brother bartered with me somehow, but it's super light, and if you're doing anything like 4 inches or below, it comes really handy. Anyway, this guy right here is a Husqvarna 3120 XP. It's the biggest Husqvarna chainsaw. I think it's 118 cc's. This thing basically will never leave the sawmill. It's too heavy to have out in the field. You're looking at around a 30-inch log to be using this. I run a 36-inch bar. I have the bars all set up that I don't have to really change them. That if I need a different size bar, I'm using a different chainsaw. It's faster. It's just the way I do things. My wife just bought me this saw. It's brand new. It's a 395 XP. It's very comparable to a 592 XP, which is the newer model that has auto tune. This is manual tune, which I don't really care. You can still get parts for this. It's not obsolete. This is a Husqvarna 575 XP. This is an outdated saw. It's hard to get parts for this. I believe this saw is an 06 model. I replaced the cylinder and the piston and the rings in this one time. I burned it up. And you cannot get, I could not find an OEM cylinder. I had to buy a aftermarket cylinder. That one made in Italy, I forget the name of it. But this is my first chainsaw I ever owned. This is a Rancher 55. I bought this in 03. This is a great saw. If you would buy this saw today, this saw would be at Lowe's. But back in 03, Husqvarna did not make a homeowner chainsaw. This has a magnesium case. This is built like a commercial saw, but back in the day, Husqvarna didn't have a homeowner line versus a commercial line. This saw is a great saw to hold up this, and I've done nothing to it except a clutch. I put a clutch in it, and I think I broke the pull string one time. That's it. I did try a steel. I love it. There's no problem. I have no problem going to steel. I would love to get a 500i. It's just I'm so invested in Husqvarna because that was my first saw that I never swapped over. But I did for this. This has a .325 chain, so it's a smaller chain. It's not a 3/8 chain. And so I went, it's fast saw. And this is my favorite limbing saw. When I take down a tray and I'm going to cut the top of it, I just take this. It's super light and super powerful. I think it's around 4 horsepower, 4.1, 4.2. It's a MS 261C. I think they make a 262C now is the updated model. This saw is about 3 years old. Okay. Anyway, this saw I will use for anything like 10 inches or below, hardwood or softwood. This saw is basically retired. I keep this at home here in case a tree falls down on my driveway. It still works. I still buck a little bit of firewood with it, but it's basically retired. This saw is heavy for its power weight ratio. It's an 03 model. It's 20 years old. This saw is the saw I use the most, as you can tell with the bar. This is running between 10 inches and 16-inch piece of wood. If you're bucking up a log in the woods, it's light enough that you can carry it all day, but it's powerful enough to get the job done. This is the saw that I primarily use most of the time. I would say 75% of the time I'm using this saw. The weight and the power are there. This is a 74cc saw. This would be equivalent to a 500i today. The 500i would probably have more power than this because it's fuel injected and it's a newer saw. This is a 90cc saw. I've never used it. I imagine that this saw comes in between a 16-inch piece and a 24-inch piece. Anything above a 24 on the landing, I'm gonna use this. I've used this a couple times. I've cut a couple big pieces. This thing's above a 24-inch piece, one shot. You don't have to go to each side. That's it. I rarely use this saw because it's so big and heavy. It's just for my landing for my sawmill. I drag the logs out with an excavator, and then I buck it up into either 8.5, 10.5, 12.5, 14.5. I use this because it's fast, it's quick, it's a one-shot deal, and it makes a straight cut because it's a 36-inch bar and you can get through it. That's my lineup. Saws are not cheap. This saw is around $2,000, maybe a little bit more with the bar and the chain. This saw is like $1,400. It's a 28-inch bar. This saw is about $1,100. I run a 22-inch bar on this. This saw, I have no idea. You can't even buy this today. I paid about $350 for this saw. Has a 20-inch bar. It's a really good saw, actually. It's just tired. It's 20 years old. It doesn't have the power to weight ratio as newer saws. I would say a newer saw is probably 1/3 more power for the same weight like this guy. This guy's an animal for its weight. I have cut 20-inch logs with this because I haven't felt like walking to get another saw, and this was in my hand already. This can do the job. It's nowhere near as fast as a 75cc or 90cc saw if you're doing anything substantial. And this is limbing only. I rarely touch the saw, but I do use it occasionally if I know that I'm doing a bunch of underbrush or something like that and I just want to get it out of the way. I'll go in here with the saw for, it's just super light. It's just, that's the way it works. I hope this video gives some people some information on what saw for what use. There's not too many videos out there of that. I'm not experienced as some of the loggers. Like a logger, be honest with you, a logger is going to use a 75cc saw. They might run a Husqvarna 390 if they're in bigger timber, hardwood. You're going to want more power, more torque if you're in hardwood versus softwood. That 390 would fall right here. It's I forget the exact, I think it's like 88 cc's or something, but it's right there. Anyway, I run a 74cc 75% of the time. If you were to get one saw to do firewood with, I might even go with like a 65cc, which would be in between these two. This is a 53cc. This is a little heavy to be doing firewood with. This is more, you're taking down trees. Taking down trees and you're bucking them up. And you're in the woods and you can't have two saws and you want to get it done quick. Anyway, that's my video. Bye.